Okay, we're recording. I don't think you'll need a recording for this part, but I'll do one just for fun. Okay, so this is just a little review for the midterm exam, and I think you'll find this review will be easy in terms of you've already got material to study for the midterm exam, um, although we'll go over it anyway. But it's basically going to be the stuff that was on the week 1 Friday lab and the week 2 Friday lab. That's what I've got in mind. So it's going to be a lab test as much as I'm able to. I think I'll be able to do it for the whole bit this time. So like the stuff that we just did on arrays, that has not been part of any Friday, lab challenge. So that's not going to be on the midterm. That stuff that we just did on arrays, some of that material will be on the final. So there will be like, we've got this one and then one more class on vanilla JavaScript, which will be on Friday, where we'll talk about functions a bit. And then after that, we're off to the races with Vue.js. So the final exam, which will be in a couple of weeks, in 2 days, be mostly Vue, or at least half Vue. And then the other half or less will be, bits and pieces for this array discussion, and then Friday's functions discussion. So this is going to be, that's going to be it. So let me just go over this stuff real quick. I'm not going to go over like exactly everything that's on the Friday labs from week 1 and week 2 because you've got those documents. But I'll just go over the different things that I will
Hey,
expect
Mr.
you
Lu,
to be able to do. Yes, go ahead.
for the midterm, do
Uh-huh.
we need to have anything on our computers when we come down to take a test? Because all my stuff is saved on my actual PC and on my laptop. So do I need to transfer anything?
Good question. No, you won't.
Okay.
I'll make sure you have
Thank.
everything you need.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No, that's good. That's a good question. Okay, so the first thing is that you have to be able to do this, right? You have to be able to source in a JavaScript file. So just for fun, I will go ahead and comment this out. Oops, if I can. So you've got to be able to do a script source equals, and it'll be something like js/midterm.js. And then a script like this, it's not quite as obvious as this may seem. It's not quite as much a gimme as it may seem. You might recall from the beginning of the semester, we talked about this. A script element is only going to pass validation in your HTML if it is in one of two places. It has to either be inside the head element, like this guy right here, or it has to be inside the body element, like this guy right here. It's customary to put those at the very bottom of each of those, bottom of the head, bottom of the body. So when I ask you to create a new JavaScript file and source it into the HTML file, which I will give you the HTML, then I'll expect you to know to put it like this at the bottom of the body element, but inside there, and I will expect you to put it into a JS subfolder, right, like this, and then to actually create the JavaScript file. It's not enough to source it in, and it has to be a new file. There we go. You do not need to put a comment at the top unless I ask for it, which I won't. Like I said, I'm thinking about starting to offer extra credit for meticulously commented, like organizational commenting on JavaScript files because it's so amazingly helpful. But anyway, so that'll be the first thing. And then, of course, you have to be able to open up this index.html so that you can test stuff in the browser. I'm just going to use this guy right here, close that server, and then go live. But most of you will just go to the folder on your desktop or wherever and open up the file directly in a browser, and then you'll have to know how to check your work in the console. So in Chrome, it's Control-Shift-I, but you can always get there if you don't remember the keyboard shortcut. In every browser, you can right-click anywhere in the web page and go to either Inspect or Inspect Element or whatever it says. It'll be something like that. And then that'll take you to the DOM, and then you just go over to the console right here. And then you will be able to check your scripts in here. So I'll probably do the rest of this right here in the browser unless I think of something else that needs doing in the JavaScript file. But in your case, of course, all the stuff that I ask you to do, you will want to do actually in your midterm.js file so that you can turn it into me, and then I can see that you are able to do the coding that you need to be able to do. Okay, so that's all the first part. Create and source a JavaScript file, open the HTML file in a browser, go to the console so that you can check your scripts. What else did we do week 1? Friday lab, declare a variable with no initial value. So let how do you do? I think we already did that one. What about semicolons? I will not be taking off for either using them or not using them. Unless they're correctly used, unless they're incorrectly used or incorrectly misused. So if you want to leave off semicolons, then you can probably get away from it with it. So there is an uninitialized variable. There is an initialized variable. So there's one without initial value and one with an initial value. You should also know how to make it constant by using the const keyword. A few of you missed that on the first Friday lab. And by the way, let me take this little side trip to note that you can always resubmit these labs. So if you're just like, oh man, I got like 3 points out of 10 off, that's horrible. Just take a look at the comments. I've put in detailed comments on everything, and make the changes, throw them back my way. I should get a notification that you've resubmitted something in my email. If you don't get a regrading of it within a reasonable amount of time, then send me an email and let me know. But I should be able to do it reasonably quickly. So in order to declare a constant, use the keyword const instead. And it is common to use all capitals for constant names. That kind of breaks out of the camel case that's used in most of the rest of JavaScript. Or whatever, right? I think in the first lab we did a constant for the new date, and we did a constant for what? Pi. That's right, we did pi. So we did math operations and a date operation. Very simple by using constants, but just that's how you use the const keyword instead of let or var for a variable. You should know how to concatenate a string. Let's see, let me just check this and make sure that we didn't do anything crazy with this. Yeah, so concatenation, we did pirate, so let pirate equal, string 1 plus string 2, like this, and then pirate will put both of them together. If I do it singularly, there we go, string 1, string 2. You guys did it all different ways when you did this and turned it in. So like let pirate equal string 1, let pirate plus equal string 2, or let pirate equal pirate plus string 2. Those are all different ways of concatenation as well, so nobody should have gotten any points off for that. But this is what I was intending when I just say, concatenate something. Speaking of which, you should definitely know how to do a console.log, right? That's one of your prime troubleshooting tools. Being able to log something to the console, see what the value is, see if it throws an error your way, see if it gives you a value that you weren't expecting, whatever. Okay, so knowing how to split a string. So let's see, we take howdy and dot split, and then I'll just split that on the space because I don't have a comma in there. And then that returns an array with 2 bits of the string that have been split on that space. Let's see, the other part we did with strings was we did creating a substring, right? So in this case, we did index of on the string. I don't think I'll be including that part. I don't think you need to worry about that. But the basic syntax of a substring is just to give it the starting and ending indexes. So think of a string as an array of characters. It's not, but it's an array-like I almost said object. It's not an object. It's an array-like primitive value. It's kind of weird. JavaScript is weird, but fine. So you can treat these as like every letter as an item in an array, and it has its own numerical index and all that, right? So howdy.substring, and then we give it the to value. So let's say I want to pull out the word hello. Well, the first character is on the 0th, if that's a word, index, and the last one is on the 4th, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I do 0 and 4. And actually, no, it's basically it's the one after the last one that you want. So 0 and 5, but you see how it gives you the little hint before you type it in? Like, see, that's part of your troubleshooting right there. I type in 0 and 4, and it says, nope, Bispo, you only got part of it. Okay, cool. Go ahead and fix it. And there we go, and we get the word hello. Okay? So the console is your friend. Okay, we concatenated a string, we split a string, we created a substring. I'm going to ask that you retrieve text or elements from the HTML document in some way, whatever document I give you. But you can use that document, that PDF document that I gave you for reference, the one that says walkingthedom.pdf. So if I say that I want you to like retrieve all of the H2 elements on the page, you can make reference to that PDF document and say, oh, well, that's going to be document.querySelectorAll. And so I'll go ahead and try it. Document.querySelectorAll, H2, right? And then I might even ask for the text content of all the H2s or something like that. And in that case, remember, like when I asked you to do something on the labs that was not actually in your reading, then I gave you a little code snippet to tell you how to do it. It'll be something like that. Like if I ask for the text content of the H2s all joined together, then I will give you the little snippet of text that tells you to find, yeah, okay, so text content has to be done on all of those individually. So if I do ask for text content, it would just be on a single, I was thinking like jQuery. When you use jQuery and you ask it for the text, then it joins everything together. But vanilla JavaScript does not. You have to grab the elements individually. So I'll test everything before I give it to you to make sure that it actually works. So in this case, if I ask for text content, it will be for just one of those guys. Seems like when we did the inner text, we did the inner text on the entire document. That's why that worked. Okay, got it. So anyway, I will tell you exactly how to do something if you haven't done it before. And the stuff like query selector all, that will be on that PDF document, and you can reference that during the exam, no problem. Let's see, escape sequences, and it will be something very similar to what we did for that first lab where I told you to do something like string equal what's up, doc? Oh, what's up, doc is what we used for the different example, didn't we? But something that I put into into a single string, which I'll ask you to do, and then I'll have an apostrophe in it. So I don't know, lose JavaScript class or something like that. Except that you'll have to know how to do an escape sequence. So you put a slash through that apostrophe so it gets ignored when it's reading the ending and starting markers of that string. So that's an escape sequence. A template literal with value interpolation. So this is just too cool for me to not put on the exam. This is something that you just need to know how to do, right? So let's see, what do we have? We've got howdy equals hello world, and let's just say, I don't know. Let's see, what did we call it? So the backticks here, and then the interpolation is with a dollar and the curly braces. And then ending with that as well. So when you interpolate the value of something in there, and it goes ahead and puts it into the string like this, you can easily do the same thing in PHP. In fact, PHP makes it even a little bit easier probably by using double quotes. but the JavaScript's catching up with this. And it's nice. We've only done something very simple stuff with it in here. We've just taken a variable name and just plugged it in here. But there's all kinds of stuff you can do with it if you get into it. Okay, rounding numbers. Now you just do math.round, and I think we did pi, math.pi. So just know how to round a number up or down, right? And then how to bring out, like how to create a new date object, which is just new date, like this. And I think that's all we did on the lab. Let me see. Declare a constant with a new date object as its initial value, log the value to the console. So yeah, like let nowish, actually we did a constant, right? So const nowish equals new date and something like that. I may actually tell you to take one of these values and write it to the page. But again, if I do that, it'll be something like this where I'll give you the little snippet for how to do it. Okay, so that was it for the week 1 lab. Let's see, the week 2 lab, what did we do? That was statements, right? We did conditionals and loops. So just what you guys did in here. So there is an if-else conditional, and then writing the same thing as a ternary operator statement, and then doing a while loop and a for of loop. So let's see, I don't know, let n equal 10, let's say, and if n is, I don't know, greater than 5, console.log yay else console.log boo. Okay, so this is your basic if-else statement with the logic structure to it. I'm not going to ask for an if, else, if. I mean, I know you guys know how to do it. I won't ask for a switch statement, just the stuff we did on the lab. There it is, so yay. And then if I say n equals 2, and then run the condition again, then I get a boo, okay? So then taking this, I will almost certainly, in fact, I'll go ahead and tell you I will ask you to do a conditional statement, and then I will ask you to rewrite that conditional statement as a ternary operator statement. So this, in this case, it would be taking the console.log outside of the logic part and putting it all inside of here. So there's my condition, n is greater than 5, question mark, yay, colon, boo. Much simpler, right? Once you get used to looking at this syntax here, it's much easier, right? There's the boo, and then let's go ahead and do n equals 15, and then do our condition again, and yay this time. Okay, so same thing as we did up here, except now it's done as a ternary operator statement. Okay, and then the loops. So I will ask you to do something with a loop. Let's see, it's going to be a while loop. Let's say we do while x is less than 10, console.log x, and then the very critical, let's see, and I'm forgetting something. Speaking of critical stuff, you got to start out with x equals 0, and then do your loop. While x is less than 10, console.log x, and the critical x++ incrementer. If you don't put that in, you're going to crash your browser, and that's what you're going for, just 0 through 9. I don't know if it'll be that exactly, but it'll be something pretty close to that. Just looping through. I may, instead of doing this, I may give you an array and have you loop through it using a while loop, but I probably will use a for of loop to loop either through an array or through the LIs like we did on the lab. So on the lab, what we did is LIs or something like that equal document query selector all li, and then the for of loop rather, that li of li's log li. And there they are. Just be aware that you also use the for of loop in order to loop through an array, and we did that on Wednesday of last week. So I might have you use a for of loop to loop through an array instead of a node list like this. But it'll be something like that. And I think that's it. I think we just did everything, starting with creating a JavaScript file, sourcing it into the HTML, opening up in the HTML and web browser, and then accessing the console to test your work. And then all the stuff in here is all the stuff from the first 2 Friday labs. And that's what's going to be on the test. I think that's fair. What do you guys think? Any questions about anything? Or anything in here is unclear to you and you'd like to see it again? Because we're doing just fine on time. I'll be happy to.
Can I look back up before the while loop?
Like this stuff here?
A little higher. That's fine.
The conditional? Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it. Other questions? No other questions? You guys are feeling solid about this, huh? Like you're all about it. All right. You guys better all get A's, man. All right, cool. Let me stop the recording.